On Earth Day, April 22nd, 1998, Disney's Animal Kingdom opened to the public for the first time. Unlike other Disney parks, Animal Kingdom would be part zoo, part theme park. Even for those that aren't familiar with Disney theme parks, most people know Animal Kingdom as the one with the animals. What people might not know is that Animal Kingdom hosts a few animals that have long been separated from the modern day for a couple million of years. However, these residents of Animal Kingdom may soon find themselves on a countdown to extinction once more. Hello, I'm Professor Ginkgo. Recently in D23, Disney's yearly press conference, the upcoming attractions were shown. Of these attractions, to fans of the park, the main thing that stuck out was the announcement that Dinoland, an opening day land in Animal Kingdom, would be demolished in 2027 to make way for South American themed land out of Indiana Jones and Encanto themed areas. For many longtime fans like myself, this is a very sad moment in Disney history. Despite not being the most popular area in the park, Dinoland was still a beloved area, with it being home to many people's favorite ride, Dinosaur Countdown to Extinction. This was sadly foreseen by many fans, Disney mentioning wanting to overhaul the land for quite some time, and the South American theme has floated among the more popular rumors. I wanted to do this back a few years ago, back when they first mentioned this, because they originally wanted to rework it into a Zootopia or Moana themed area, but I decided to put off the video until we had a concrete date, so I've been having this for a long time. Now, as a longtime Disney Park fan and dinosaur enjoyer, I was hoping the announcement may have been quietly shelved. Disney has a habit of throwing out announcements with no real due date, and then financially, if they seem in too much trouble, take it back. I figured that Villainland would have more priority than Dinoland, considering that Villainland is bigger and coming soon. But this time, however, it's different. We have a year, and we have permits. So I thought now was time to work on the video before it went under. So before we get into the state of what is Dinoland, we need to go over some basic history. In 1989, after the construction of what is now called Hollywood Studios, Imagineer Joe Rohde pitched a concept for an animal-themed park to then CEO Michael Eisner. When Animal Kingdom was designed, it was designed with 7 lands in mind. Of these lands, there were 2 that stood out from the more zoological-focused areas. Beastly Kingdom focused on the animals of legend, with dragon-themed roller coasters, krakens lurking in the depths, and unicorns guarding hedge mazes. Its counterpart on the other side of the map, however, Dinoland U.S.A, focused on the animals from the past. Park visitors could dig up the bones and experience long-dead animals. However, budget issues soon made things apparent that on opening day, Dinoland and Beastly Kingdom could not coexist. It was Disney's first time dealing with so many live animals all at once, and their cost alone made a big dent in an extravagantly themed park. In addition, the failure of Euro Disney at the time, which was another ambitious project, meant that financially Disney was in the choppy waters. This was not Disney when it sold to Mega Corporation, it was very much in trouble. So, with those 2 in mind, Dinoland was picked over Beastly Kingdom, the theming of the cost being less expensive, and it had a future synergy with the upcoming dinosaur movie. Dinoland is themed after a roadside town that, after recently discovering dinosaur fossils, has quickly become a roadside attraction. Home to the Dino Institute, it is helmed by a team of paleontologists who look to study the land. The Dino Institute side of the map showcases a large range of reconstructions. It shows a large variety in the quick service restaurant, Restaurantosaurus alone. It has art ranging from Disney's Fantasia, old Charles Knight paintings, to then cutting-edge dinosaur renaissance reconstructions. You can really just see how they cared about showing off various dinosaurs and how people perceive them. The e-ticket of Dinoland, which, if you didn't know, an e-ticket is usually the heavy-hitting park rides, is on the Dino Institute side. Named Countdown to Extinction, it later was renamed Dinosaur, but in order to prevent confusion and stuff, I'm just going to call it Countdown to Extinction. I'm also a nerd like that. Now, Countdown to Extinction has one of the best Q-types I've seen. It's a mini museum of sorts. It showcases stuff like predator and prey relations, predator behaviors, and various animals lost in the KT mass extinction. It also has plaster skeletons and a Carnotaurus skeleton mount that looms over the pre-show queue. Ride-wise, it pretty much is the same type of the 2 Indiana Jones rides that existed, those ones being in California and Japan. It feels very similar to those kind of rides. The plot, however, is entirely different. Riders are chosen to be part of a time-traveling tour of the early Cretaceous. But at the request of a researcher, ride vehicles are instead programmed to be at the late Cretaceous. the plan is to pull a Naja Marvin on an iguanodon. From there, you drive throughout the Cretaceous as the meteor hits. You drive through herds of dinosaurs until you get your iguanodon and get the heck out of there. Anachronistic dinosaurs aside, it is very fun and fills a niche young geeko craved as a child, which is putting Disney and dinosaurs together. It also runs like Indiana Jones, which is a personal favorite of mine back home. Once you finish with your ride, you're then shown that the iguanodon got home safely, and you're let out in a gift shop. If you look to your left, you see a rather poignant mural, starting with animals long extinct before man, like Dimetrodon. As you move from left to right, you start to see animals that went extinct due to human interaction. Thylacine, dodos, and moa birds, and on the far right, you see animals halfway stepping into the left. These include critically endangered animals like harpy eagles and Java rhinos. It's a reminder not to let these animals enjoy the extinct ones while we still have a chance to save them. We'll come back to this mural later, but for now, if you leave the gift shop and start down a side path, you'll end out on the other half of Dinoland. Almost immediately, you're met with a cheesy dinosaur telling you that you're about to enter a new zone. The half of Dinoland is dedicated to Hester Chester's Dinorama. This is a carnival with many generic flat-top rides that you'd really find at any county fair. Or, Six Flags. It really sticks out compared to the highly themed areas around it, and if I'm being honest, looks a little cheap. This is where the major issues of Dinoland start to rear its head. Dinoland suffers from what I call studio theming syndrome. This was a common way to cut costs during the Eisner era. Many lands were themed after basic themes that allowed for flat top rides or just generic theming. Take, for example, California Adventures and their Hollywood Boulevard and Paradise Pier, or for example, Disney Studios Park and Disney Studio One. Both of these parks were running into budget issues during their creation and defaulted into California or vaguely Hollywood-themed lands. This helped cut the theming down significantly and made things a little more manageable. Despite the exotic theming of most of the park, Dinoland does fall prey, unfortunately, to studio theming syndrome, but this is kind of half the point. I mean, half of it is Eisner era really liked using cheap flat top rides to pad out a park with not a whole lot of rides to offer, but the other part is that, honestly, it kind of works. Now, it's not great in terms of theming, but it pays homage to a lot of roadside attractions, such as the Cabazon Dinosaurs, which is a piece of Americana that don't get much spotlight outside of quality Vegas. Dinosaurs are iconic to a lot of people of all ages, and especially kids. It's a pretty easy tactic, just throw a dinosaur at a roadside attraction and get the kids to beg their dad to pull over. It also isn't just a simple drag and drop. You have over-the-top signage and even false cracks taking place on a false asphalt, which I think is really cool. In addition, a running theme about a lot of the early Animal Kingdom attractions is mankind and their interaction with nature. Take, for example, the now scrap push subplot of Kilimanjaro Safaris, or human encroachment resulting in Angry Yeti on Expedition Everest. Even nowadays, with Avatar Land, you can see that theming in their rides too. But not even dinosaurs are extinct, so how exactly do we interact with them? Well, in fact, we interact them based on how we reconstruct them and how we talk about them. Whether that's from our knowledge or as tacky mascots, both are still interacting with them. As much as we dinosaur lovers love to talk about and try to push for accuracy, most people aren't that aware of current knowledge of dinosaurs, but because of that, it can result in charming dinosaurs that aren't that accurate. And that is, in fact, for the most part, of how Hester Chester really showcases dinosaurs. It has that kind of cheesy 50s nostalgia of dinosaurs that honestly kind of stands out. You don't see a lot of that nowadays. It's pretty interesting to also see how half the land showcases both depictions of dinosaurs, showing both of them to be valid. You have the Dino Institute with the museum theming, showcasing classic paleo art and having dinosaur fossils on display. And then you have the opposite of it, Hester and Chester's, which is filled with inaccurate but cutesy dinosaurs, and along with classic roadside display stuff. It's kind of a duality of dinosaurs that I think it does a really good job at showing off exactly what dinosaurs mean to people in general. It showcases, that we as people can talk about the same animal, but having two radically different outcomes based on our knowledge. And that's something that only paleo art and only paleontology reconstructions in general do. And that is really cool. Even if inaccurate dinosaurs can be a bit exploitive at times, like Jurassic Park in general, I can't deny that attacking inaccurate dinosaurs can be fun sometimes. Regardless of how I feel about the bland theme overall, I really do think that the mascots running around are very cute and charming in their own way. I like how a lot of the characters dress up in dinosaur costumes. However, I greatly prefer how the Dino Institute turned things. It's a very interesting snapshot of the Dino Renaissance. Now, if you didn't know, the Dino Renaissance was a trend in paleontology that started in the 70s but really took off during the 80s and 90s. During that era, many paleontologists like Backer and Horner challenged the widely held beliefs that dinosaurs were inferior, slow, cold animals. Deinonychus's swift, lean body challenged the lumbering dinosaur, and Maiasaur challenged the belief that dinosaurs were too dumb to care for their offspring. During this era, paleo artists like Doug Henderson, Louis Ray, and Bob Backer did their best to translate their discoveries into something you can see. Art and depictions of dinosaurs shifted from big, classic dinosaur designs into sleeker, more active animals. Animals were shown off as struggling for their lives in a hostile environment, with gaunt dinosaurs with skeletal structure shown just below the skin, in an art technique that is frequently called shrink wrapping, which also doubles as a way to show the anatomy knowledge of the artist. It's this era that was taking place during the conception of Animal Kingdom, and for its time, Dinoland could be considered to have incredibly accurate dinosaurs by the standards of the 90s. Even if they tried to update things with feathers later on, it was really more of a tack on. You couldn't really tell as you go around that this was just made in the heyday of the Dino Renaissance. So you might be thinking, well, half of Dinoland is fairly cheap, so then what's the problem with the land being removed? The main issue is, without it, the theme of Animal Kingdom is really diminished, and the message of the park takes a large hit as a result. You might be thinking, do theme parks have a story to tell? And the answer, honestly, is yeah. If you've been to any theme park, most of them are designed in a way to where a story is being told based off of the things around you. Similar to how a video game would with visual storytelling, where you're supposed to put the pieces together. Disney parks in general are usually designed around a main theme that they work around. Disneyland and Disney World, for example, being designed with here you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. This opening theme tells you that this is intended to be a retreat from the world, a sort of getaway where you can explore different worlds to your heart's content. Epcot Center was designed to be a permanent world fair, and Animal Kingdom was themed about animals real, ancient, and imagined. It is also unfortunate then that Animal Kingdom has always had issues with its theme. Beastly Kingdom was intended to fill the gap of imagined and was put on the back burner for a long time because of said money issues we talked about earlier with Euro Disney. A temporary land called Camp Minnie and Mickey was designed to kind of fill in the gap until they could get enough money to put it down. However, when Universal made Islands of Adventure, a land called Lost Continent was designed around myths, and that was helmed by many Imagineers that left because of said budget cuts. This used a lot of the original Beastly Kingdom concepts, which put a nail in the coffin there. For example, Dueling Dragons was based off of a dragon roller coaster that you can see in concept art here. However, the creation of the Avatar land in 2017 finally fulfilled it, but unfortunately the removal of Dinoland means that the land will once again lose its theming. It is unfortunate that within the 26 years Animal Kingdom has been operational, only 7 of them it's really been complete. Animal Kingdom is also a theme park just deeply rooted in the environmentalism and conservation of the 90s. You got that a lot of 90s media. For example, Disney's very own Rescuers Down Under, Saturday morning show Captain Planet, Pokemon, one of the hallmark series in the 90s, had a lot to talk about with conservation, with Lapras mirroring the then modern day well plights. Although today it might be seen as virtue signaling, and to be honest, probably a lot of Animal Kingdom's work on environmentalism and conservation is virtue signaling, it still doesn't change the fact that for the time, during the 90s, environmentalism was just seen as the next thing to work on, the next social injustice to slay. Unfortunately, we never got that. However, Animal Kingdom still remains as kind of a shining example of what people in the 90s wanted to push. Animal Kingdom is one of the very few theme parks accredited by the Association of Zoos and Aquarium, or the AZA. Animal Kingdom honestly does a lot to teach people about mankind's impact on nature and conservation. I would imagine a lot of people who don't like zoos or normally would attend zoos are likely to visit Animal Kingdom on vacation just on account of it being Disney. This makes it more important for its message of conservation to be there. As an example of why I'm so upset with this removal, let me give you an example of Dinoland as a whole. Unlike other lands in the park, there are no main animal exhibits. Every other land is based around a country and has various animals of that country, except for Dinoland. It has a few small exhibits here and there, but nothing major, no like lions or tigers. So when you travel through Dinoland, your main reason for that would to attend Countdown to Extinction, because, you know, that's the big ride there. Everything else there is little sideshows for you to do in between. Most people there will actually see the main theme of Dinoland, and especially Countdown to Extinction is best shown on the mural right as you exit Countdown to Extinction. It's not very subtle, but it doesn't make its message any less important. This message is we should take care of these endangered animals we have right now before they join these extinct animals that we just saw for good. Time Machine is only within the realm of fantasy, but with conservation and hard work, we can prevent these animals from joining their extinct forebears. It's sad then that by removing Dinoland, the message will be diminished in favor of pandering with IPs. It doesn't really fix a park problem with there being only one ride of note here. I wouldn't really mind it too much if Disney used this remodel to add South American fauna and work conservation that way, but for what we've seen of the blueprint, it just seems like another dime a dozen remodel we've seen the past few years. Now look, everyone saw this coming, myself included. Disney hasn't had many home runs with Dino Media, with both the Good Dinosaur and Disney's Dinosaur being, to be frank, mediocre. Don't let anyone in the paleo community tell you otherwise. It is mediocre. Disney has also just recently been remodeling their more unique lands in favor of just bland IP. So it was just a matter of time, unfortunately. Still, it's sad that this underutilized piece of land is just being demolished in favor of what's popular on Disney Plus and what they want to push. I think that remodeling Hester Chester's, maybe in favor of more recent extinct animals, would be a lot done to push the theming of the land. I'm no park designer, but I think the exhibits connecting endangered animals in the park to extinct animals back then, such as example the woolly mammoth and the elephants in the park, would really do something to expand on the theme of the land and help educate people. Or to double down the dinosaur side, Silent Entertainment did an entire video on what he would do to improve the land that you see there. I love his videos, please check him out. Regardless, I feel that Animal Kingdom as a Disney park is something really special. It's really the only big thing of its scale, a massive theme park and zoo in one. It being AZA accredited really shows how much dedication they do to take care and to educate people. Like, that is not something that often is given to a lot of zoos. AZA accredited zoos usually are pretty standout. I have never been to one that has been bad. As mentioned, it's a lot of people's first exposure to conservation and has an opportunity to reach people that might not be as plugged into conservation. And for the most part, it does its part. But after the removal of Dinoland for more IP and not even necessarily something to help push the theme of conservation, makes the park even more seem like lip service. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I know Disney isn't here to tell stories, at least not anymore. Here to make money and, you know, sell Disney Plus subscriptions and all that. And this will probably push their goal for Disney Plus subscribers or whatever they want to do. But, you know, I know that the creatives that work on these rides and stuff really want to tell a story. And I know that this is a beloved part of the park, and many people would be eager to improve instead of just painting over. But stories don't make money. Nostalgia and brand synergy does. Just so frustrating because as a longtime park goer and fan of the park, see such an important part of this park, a park that I wanted to go for years and after going really enjoyed, start to fade away into just more soulless brand synergy is just very disappointing, but not wholly surprising. Disney Animal Kingdom for the most part has been isolated from a lot of the things that Disney has been trying to replace with IPs. And it felt like this was the only place in Florida that was still allowed to tell a story like they used to. And it was an important story. But with this, though, it makes me wonder about the future of my favorite park on the East Coast. I wonder and dread what else of the park will be overridden in favor of their Disney Plus metrics. All things must end, and as much as I hate to say it, looks like the dinosaurs here will face extinction once again. And this time, it'll stick. So this is something that I did a bit different from my normal content. I don't normally do park videos, as you can tell by the channel. I normally stick on natural history or media involving natural history. My main channel theme is based off of mankind's interaction with nature through media. That's kind of what the whole channel's been about, if you haven't got the memo recently. So, you know, a theme park video was something that I was pretty glad to take a crack at. I'm a big fan of Disney in general. Disneyland in particular was one of my favorite vacation spots. I've been going there pretty consistently as long as I can remember. My parents even took me there in diapers, so like, I know that place like the back of my hand. So yeah, it's not often two of my interests just intersect. So this was a long time coming. It was really fun to do this video as kind of an homage to some of my favorite theme park YouTubers like Poseidon Entertainment, but with a lens like me who's more in tune with paleontology and natural sciences. I don't normally do videos like this, and I don't know if I will in the future. If the algorithm picked you from amusement park YouTube, hi, I'm Professor Ginkgo. I hope you stay around. I normally yap about dinosaurs, not theme parks, but I'm a big fan of them. Maybe I might be able to do something later down the line. It'd be interesting to maybe talk about Animal Kingdom in general, in a more focus on the ecology and historical stuff with that. I also maybe have an idea with Jurassic Park in general, which would also tie in with Animal Kingdom, because there are actually a lot of similarities between the two. But if I do, that's a video for another time. I'll see you later.